Up until this point, most of what we've talked about can be done within your family without a professional. But at stop 4 of the Think Change training, Planning for the Future of a Loved One with an IDD, I'm going to cover the services, agencies, as well as professionals and systems that you need to know about. So, professionals can help you. They can help you in the areas of legal planning, financial planning, and medical management. And these are all interconnected. So let's dive in a little bit more. What is legal planning? Legal planning helps protect a person's rights, money, and wishes. And it includes things like decision-making documents, wills, and estate planning. Decision making. We actually have a tool from THINK+change that helps people better understand the ways in which a person may be supported in making their decisions when they have a disability. It's a thing to think about when the primary caregiver or decision maker is no longer here. It walks you through the different options that are available and explains things like guardianship, supported decision making, rep payee, and a lot more. And everyone is different than with what they need. It is certainly not one size fits all, but this tool can kind of help you navigate and figure out what feels like the best fit for your person. There's also estate planning and wills. And so an attorney who understands disability planning can help you create a will. It will basically explain where your money and belongings go when you pass away. The goal is to protect your loved one's benefits, and directing assets to something called a special needs trust could be a great thing to explore if you choose to leave anything to your loved one with a disability. And I'm going to talk more about trusts in this section. Financial planning can also help your loved one with keeping their benefits and their financial security safe. And there are 3 main pieces that you should really think about. There's things like government benefits, special needs trusts, as well as ABLE accounts. And so I'm going to walk through each of these in simple terms. There are 3 key government programs that I really want you to know about and to make sure that your loved one is enrolled in when we're talking about benefits. There's supplemental security income, or you may hear it called SSI. And so that is a monthly payment for people with disabilities who maybe have limited income and savings. And to qualify, and as of 2026, a person cannot usually have more than $2,000 in their name. There's also Medicaid. That is things like health insurance, basically. It helps pay for things like doctor's visits and medical care. And then there's also home and community-based services, or you may hear it called HCBS or HCBS waivers. And that's a program through Medicaid that can help pay for extra supports such as help at home. Maybe that's things with like cooking or cleaning, personal care, things like that. There's day programs. There could be additional supervision and safety supports put in place, and a lot more. It just kind of depends on the HCBS program that that person enrolls into and what's available in your state. Applying for those programs such as SSI, Medicaid, HCBS, they unfortunately each have their own processes and eligibility. And so we think this THINK+change benefits toolkit that we've provided you linked on this slide is a really great thing to help you understand the steps needed to apply for each program and to help you stay organized. So check this out if your loved one is not already set up with these programs. I want to talk about special needs trusts and ABLE accounts. These are some financial options that you can explore. So a special needs trust is a place to basically hold money for a person with a disability so it helps keep their benefits safe. So those things I was just talking about. So why does this matter? So those programs like SSI, Medicaid, HCBS, they have really strict money limits on how much money someone can have. And so if a person has too much money in their name, it can impact their program and they can lose their benefits. And so, for example, let's just say you leave $50,000 directly to your family member with the disability, it can unfortunately stop their benefits. However, if you leave that same $50,000 and it goes into a special needs trust for your loved one with a disability, their benefits are safe. And so people may be thinking, well, like, what kind of money can go into a trust? And there's different types of special needs trusts. So we encourage you to talk to a professional in figuring out which one is the best fit. But you can leave things like inheritances, gifts, life insurance, things like that. But really important, it's really important that we don't leave large lump sums of money to the person with a disability because it can impact their benefits. So if it's not done correctly with a professional that knows what they're doing, it could maybe cause some barriers with this for the person. There's also ABLE accounts. So an ABLE account is kind of like a savings or spending account that is specifically for people with disabilities. And it lets them save a certain amount of money every year and use money in that account without losing their benefits. And that amount we've seen seems to change year after year. So look into it and see how much money you can put into it at this very moment if that's something that you're interested in. But why does this program matter? Well, again, those programs like SSI, Medicaid, all that stuff have strict money limits. And so an ABLE account can really allow that person to have and use money while keeping those benefits. So a simple way to kind of think about it is a special needs trust. That's kind of like a long-term savings that's managed for the person, versus an ABLE account that's kind of like a regular bank account. Like sometimes it even has like a debit card that you can use, so the person can kind of access it easily for those everyday needs. They kind of have some limitations on what you can use ABLE accounts for, but some examples maybe like for education, housing, transportation, employment training, assistive tech, health prevention, just to name a few. Is one better than the other? No, they both just kind of do different things. Many people may use both together, but those trusts can really help protect those larger lump sums of money in the long term, while that ABLE kind of gives easy access but has caps on how much we can have in there. So if you want to get started with either of those, check out that benefits toolkit we just shared on the last slide, because it will give you information on how to get started with those. Let's talk medical. So medical areas can be supported via a couple things like care coordination, proxies, and advanced directives. And having a plan is really important when it comes to medical care. So let's break these down. Who can help manage care coordination? So it's going to kind of depend on the type and the need, but your loved one may have a support coordinator, though these can go by many different names. You may hear them called like a resource coordinator, case manager. It just kind of varies where they work. Or there are also people like family or friends and others that you trust. A service coordinator or case manager is often an ongoing contact through, here in Colorado, we call them case management agencies, for people enrolled on home and community-based services or HCBS waivers. And in other states, this role may have a different name, or the organization may also have a different name. But they can help basically set up and manage these waiver services for things like day programs or other HCBS things that the person needs. They are supposed to lead person-centered planning meetings and really should be the person to step in when services are not working well. People on an HCBS waiver may also have other paid supports involved in that waiver, or other Medicaid-related programs that is paid for, such as people who maybe come out to the home. Think those things like cooking, cleaning, things like that. Or maybe it's pays for those staff at the day program who help care for your loved one. So there may be different types of paid support people that are involved. And getting help via HCBS can be a huge relief for a lot of people, but those contacts can change over time. So having those families, those friends, and others that you know that really know the history, the patterns, what works and doesn't work for your loved one is really important. So identifying and preparing those other people that I had mentioned, like those siblings, maybe as professional advocates, whatever is in your person's circle, is another part of long-term planning. Remember, you can add those people to your circle of supports. Let's talk more about medical decisions. So if your loved one cannot speak for themselves or share their needs, who can help make decisions? Well, there are tools that you can help plan ahead of time so that the right person is involved and their wishes are known. And we're going to talk a little bit more about advanced directives and healthcare proxy. An advanced directive is a document that explains a person's medical wishes. It can include things like the type of care that they want, how they communicate, and what matters most to them. And this can help doctors really understand what to do, especially in emergencies. And so you can usually complete this by using your state's forms. So for example, do a quick search for advanced directives form Colorado, for example, and you should be able to find something online. But usually they must be signed, and you need to follow your own state's rules to make sure that they're valid. And it should also be reviewed and updated over time, and your doctor and others should have a copy. There's also healthcare proxy, and this could also maybe be called medical power of attorney. And this is the person chosen to help make medical decisions if needed. And so the person with the disability still keeps their rights and makes their own decisions for as long as they are able. The proxy really only steps in if the person can't make or communicate their own decisions, and they can agree to or refuse treatment based on the person's wishes. It also doesn't remove the person with IDD's rights. So to set this up, you choose a trusted person to be the proxy, and you complete your state forms. So again, you could do a quick search in your internet browser for medical durable power of attorney, Colorado, for example, and you should be able to find something online. But again, make sure you follow your state's rules, share copies with those who should probably have access to that information. I know this can feel like a lot, but remember, the main goal of all of these things that we are talking about is to protect benefits, preserve resources, and ensure that your loved one has the support that they need for the future. So I want you to get out your paper, and we're going to do another activity to write in box number 4. Again, as you've heard, if you've misplaced your paper, all good, go get another one. But in box 4, what I want you to do is I want you to think about the benefits your loved one has in place. So I want you to think about your plan for protecting their benefits and the people who should be involved for when you will start planning. And if you don't have the answers to all of these questions at the moment, remember, there are professionals out there who can help support. So my questions for you to write in box 4 are: what are the government programs your loved one currently has? Do they have SSI? Do they have Medicaid? Do they have HCBS? Do you know how you will protect those benefits through different ways in which you will leave maybe inheritance to your loved one? Who will help you do this, and when will you start doing your planning?